It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, these words from Machiavelli are not about cruelty, they are about clarity. Power is not a decoration, it is a weapon. And the one who forgets this truth walks into every room already conquered. Manipulation is not always malicious, it is simply the invisible war that decides who bends and who commands. If you deny its presence, you are already losing. The silent blade cuts deepest because you never see it coming. In human interaction, what harms you most is rarely the loud insult. It is the quiet framing of your choices, the subtle steering of your attention, the unseen pressure that convinces you to agree before you know the cost. Most people live under constant influence, imagining they are free, when in fact they are pawns on another's board. You must see the invisible hand. You must train your eyes to recognize how tone, timing, and silence can shape decisions as sharply as any blade. Every interaction is chess. Even a casual exchange about work, money, or relationships carries hidden moves. A simple pause can make someone rush to fill silence and expose their plan. A shift in posture can tilt the balance of respect in your favor. Think of the world as one endless board. Pawns press forward without thought. Knights move in strange leaps. But the player who studies position, not just pieces, gains real advantage. Do not rush into words without considering placement. Each word you speak is a piece moved. Each silence you hold is a strategy unfolding. Train yourself to watch patterns, not moments, so you never mistake distraction for truth. Naming the enemy is your first command. The enemy is not the other person. The enemy is your own naivety. It is the part of you that wants to believe everyone means well. It is the part that speaks too quickly, reveals too much, and assumes safety where none exists. When you accept that weakness is your true opponent, you strip away the illusion. Only then can you sit on the throne of your own mind. Do not battle shadows. Confront the traitor within. Imagine someone disagrees with you in public. A pawn rushes to defend itself, blurting excuses. A player on the throne waits, listens, and responds with measured calm. You say one sentence, low and steady, and the room tilts toward you. That is not force. That is mastery. This is how you transform invisible attacks into moments of dominance. Stand firm, protect the throne of your mind, and carry this command: I will not be deceived. The mind is a throne. If you fail to rule it, someone else will. Every thought that enters is like a courtier in your hall, whispering counsel. Some voices are loyal, urging patience, reason, and discipline. Others are traitors, tempting you toward rashness, fear, or distraction. When you let weak thoughts govern, they open the gates to manipulation. Control begins within. If you cannot command the throne room of your own mind, you will never command influence outside it. Guarding the throne room means watching which thoughts you allow to linger. Not every idea deserves an audience. A passing fear may enter, but if you let it sit, it multiplies and grows into paralysis. A spark of anger may rise, but if you fan it, it consumes judgment. The disciplined ruler dismisses weak courtiers swiftly. You are not at the mercy of every mental impulse. You are the sovereign. You decide which voices live and which are exiled. Train yourself to notice the instant a thought arrives and ask, does this serve the throne, or does this serve the enemy? If it does not serve, cut it out like a traitor before it gathers allies. Crowning the right voice is not about endless debate inside yourself. It is about choosing a single advisor you trust. Reason. Reason does not mean coldness. It means clarity. It means weighing the long game over the instant reward. In chess, pawns rush forward blindly and are sacrificed. The king advances only when position demands. Your impulses are pawns. Your reason is the king. Give your crown to the king. Let reason decide your movements, not the pawns clamoring for immediate action. When you practice this daily, you become harder to move, harder to predict, harder to deceive. A manipulator depends on your impulsive reactions. Without them, their weapons are dull. Defending against invasion requires vigilance. Manipulators look for openings in unguarded minds. They test where your throne is weakest. Do you crave approval? They will flatter. Do you fear rejection? They will threaten withdrawal. Do you hate silence? They will withhold words until you spill your secrets. Every unchecked weakness is an unlocked gate. The disciplined ruler inspects the walls constantly. You do not eliminate all weaknesses at once. You reinforce brick by practicing restraint in moments of pressure. Hold silence, delayed reaction. Choose words with precision. Each act of control strengthens your fortress until no invader finds easy passage. Consider a disagreement in the workplace. Someone challenges your idea sharply, expecting you to stumble. The weak ruler reacts with flustered defense, rushing to prove worth. The strong ruler sits still on the throne, waits a breath, and answers with a steady voice. By not rising to the bait, you shift the ground beneath them. Calm leadership is itself a weapon. It transforms an attack into an opportunity to demonstrate authority without aggression. You win not by crushing, but by standing firm. Rule your court within. Command the voices, exile the traitors, and protect your throne with vigilance. Your mind is your first kingdom. If you lose it, you lose it all. Remember this mantra: I am master of the throne within. The first hours of the day are not neutral. They are a battlefield. You either march forward under your own banner, or you stumble into the ambush set by distraction and fatigue. Victory here is not symbolic. It decides whether you move through the day as commander or as prisoner. Manipulators do not need to attack the strong. They wait for the careless, who wake defeated and drift through the morning without clarity. Do not give them that advantage. Strike first. Claim ground before the world even opens its eyes. Seizing the banner begins the moment you rise. A morning ritual is not a trend. It is conquest. When you make your bed, you raise a flag over the field. When you drink water before reaching for a screen, you choose discipline over surrender. When you train your body, even for 10 focused minutes, you sharpen weapons for the hours ahead. Each action signals command to your own mind. It is the same principle leaders have used throughout history. The first act sets tone for all that follows. Win this first engagement, and the rest of the campaign bends to your momentum. But every battlefield has spies, and morning is their favorite hour. Sabotage at dawn comes dressed as comfort, the phone that drags you into endless scrolling, the indulgence of staying in bed long after waking, the sugary food that dulls focus before work even begins. These are not small slips, they are enemy infiltrators. Each one weakens your defenses and broadcasts your lack of readiness to the day. Recognize them for what they are: silent saboteurs pulling you off the throne before you sit on it. The only defense is awareness followed by swift rejection. Guard the gates. Do not negotiate with spies. Momentum is your cavalry. Once you seize the banner and drive out spies, you must charge forward before hesitation regroups. Momentum carries victories from one skirmish to the next. If you move early with focus, reading, planning, training, you ride with speed and strike before resistance builds. The mind gains confidence when it feels itself advancing, and just as in war, confidence multiplies. A small early win convinces you of strength, and that conviction breaks larger barriers later in the day. Build momentum deliberately. Do not let the first victory fade into silence. Expand it. Picture this in action. Two colleagues face the same demanding day. One wakes late, scrolls for half an hour, skips breakfast, and rushes out tense. The other rises early, writes a short plan, trains for 15 minutes, and enters calm. By the first meeting, one already carries the tone of defeat, the other of command. Influence flows naturally toward the one who looks unshaken. This difference did not appear in the meeting. It was decided hours earlier on the battlefield of morning. That is why you cannot treat dawn casually. It is your war. If you do not lead yourself there, you will be led everywhere else. Rule your mornings with force and discipline. Do not crawl into the day. Charge it. Plant your banner. Guard against spies and ride momentum like cavalry through enemy lines. Hold this mantra as your weapon. My first victory decides them all. Noise surrounds you, but silence commands you. In a culture addicted to constant chatter, endless notifications, and rapid reactions, the one who masters stillness gains the sharpest weapon. Silence is not absence, it is pressure. It is the hawk circling above the field, unseen but felt, waiting for the moment when prey breaks under its own fear. When you hold stillness, others expose themselves. When you stay quiet, they rush to fill the void, revealing weakness and handing you control. The hawk above teaches the first lesson. Silence terrifies prey. In human interaction, a pause often feels heavier than words. In negotiation, it forces the other side to keep talking, often past their own advantage. In personal conflict, it unsettles the attacker because you refuse to meet their noise with more noise. Silence is not passive. It is a blade unsheathed, but not swung. Its very presence shifts balance. Learn to use it deliberately. Resist the impulse to answer quickly. Let others reveal what they wish you never to know. The art of pausing is your second weapon. Most people rush to fill every gap, to prove they are in control. But real control is measured by tempo. In chess, the strongest players do not move quickly. They move precisely, choosing the rhythm of the game. In conversation, the same law applies. A pause makes your words heavier. A delayed answer signals composure, not hesitation. It communicates that you decide the pace. If someone disagrees with you in a heated meeting, do not match their speed. Sit still, breathe once, and then answer in a steady tone. Your restraint will disarm them more than a flood of words ever could. They came to clash swords. You instead forced them to stumble in silence. That is leadership through tempo. Modern life is designed as noise warfare. Social feeds, news cycles, endless alerts. They pull your attention into constant reaction. This chaos is not neutral. It is manipulation disguised as stimulation. If you cannot hold stillness, you are dragged into battles you never chose. To resist, you must cut through the noise with deliberate pauses in your day. Step away from screens. Sit without stimulus. Let your mind reset. These acts are not luxury, they are defense. A soldier who cannot hear their own thoughts is blind to the field. A leader who cannot retreat into silence cannot see the larger war. Language reveals another truth. Weak, I'll get back to you right away. Strong, I'll consider it and let you know. Weak, sorry for the delay. Strong, I answered when I was ready. These are not tricks, they are signals. You show that your time is chosen, not taken. You train others to respect your pace, not dictate it. This is the essence of weaponized stillness, command through restraint. Silence is not emptiness. It is an amplified presence. Hold it like a hawk, circling above. Use it to control the tempo of your interactions and protect yourself from the noise warfare of modern life. You do not need to shout to rule. You need only to be unshaken when others collapse into noise. Carry this mantra with you. My silence is my weapon. Mercy in excess breeds weakness. The one who cannot cut what harms them will always be ruled by it. In war, the commander who hesitates to remove a traitor endangers the entire army. In life, the same truth applies. Manipulation thrives when you fail to eliminate distractions, parasites, and betrayers. Ruthless elimination is not cruelty, it is discipline. It is the surgeon's blade, sharp and precise, cutting only what endangers the body so the whole may survive. You must wield it without apology, because hesitation invites collapse. The surgeon's blade is your first principle. In surgery, decay spreads if not removed swiftly. In thought and action, weak habits spread the same way. A moment of indulgence grows into days of delay. A single compromise festers into a pattern of surrender. Mercy toward your own destructive habits may feel kind, but it is a kindness that rots you from within. Be ruthless. Cut the weakness early before it infects your throne. Eliminate distractions the moment you see them. End conversations that drain your focus. Silence devices when they invade your concentration. Each cut protects your power. Exile of the useless is your second principle. An empire cannot thrive if its court is filled with jesters pretending to be advisors. Time wasters, complainers, and emotional leeches are not harmless company. They are parasites feeding on your energy. Their presence costs you clarity, and clarity is the currency of power. You cannot lead when you are drained by those who refuse to carry their own weight. Exile does not mean cruelty. It means distance. You do not owe endless access to everyone. Guard your time like a fortress. Weak. I'll try to make time. Strong. That no longer fits my priorities. Weak. I'll see if I can help. Strong. That is not mine to solve. Language shapes boundaries. Boundaries protect empires. Burning the ships is your third principle. Throughout history, commanders have removed every option of retreat to force victory. In your life, failure often hides behind escape routes. You keep old habits, side projects, or backup plans that give you excuses when pressure rises. These exits are comforting, but they weaken resolve. Commit fully. If you decide on a course, burn the ships behind you. Delete the app that steals hours. End the relationship that breeds doubt. Remove the safety net that keeps you from acting with urgency. Manipulation feeds on hesitation. Eliminate the escape, and you eliminate the weakness. Picture a moment of disagreement. Someone close to you continually interrupts your focus with trivial requests. You respond once, politely, and set a firm line. This time is not available to you. No anger, no debate, only a clean cut. By holding that boundary calmly, you train both yourself and them to respect the discipline of elimination. They may resist at first, but clarity ends arguments faster than excuses. The surgeon's blade does not tremble. Ruthless elimination is not about cruelty. It is about sovereignty. A ruler who cannot exile betrayers or burn ships cannot hold a throne. You must protect your mind and your empire with decisive cuts, removing what drains, distracting what delays, and burning what tempts retreat. Hold to this command: I cut what weakens me. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Machiavelli understood that power is not built on raw truth, but on the image of control. Appearances shape obedience more than reality. The world does not respond to your private doubts or hidden struggles. It responds to the mask you wear. To master manipulation, you must learn to command through disguise, to present what strengthens you while concealing what weakens you. Power wears a mask because perception is the battlefield, and those who neglect it surrender before the fight begins. The double face is your first law. One face belongs to the world, one to your inner throne room. The public face is polished, measured, and deliberate. The private face is where you process doubts and prepare strategies. Confusing the two destroys authority. Leaders throughout history have learned to protect their inner world by separating it from their public performance. This does not mean living a lie. It means understanding that people follow symbols, not confessions. If you display every weakness, you invite manipulation. Guard your throne room, but present the mask of command when you step into the arena. Commanding calm is your second law. Emotional control signals invincibility. In meetings, negotiations, or conflicts, the loudest person is rarely the strongest. The one who holds steady, unmoved by provocation, appears untouchable. People test boundaries with emotion. They want to see if anger shakes you or if flattery bends you. If you remain calm, you project power. Weak. This really upsets me. Strong. Noted. Weak. I can't believe this is happening. Strong. Let's address it. The difference is not in the words themselves, but in the tone of mastery. Calm becomes armor. Stillness becomes dominance. You must wear composure as your chosen mask, until it is no longer a mask, but a natural extension of your rule. Projection of power is the third law. People obey symbols more than they obey facts. A crown is only metal, yet armies march for it. A uniform is only fabric, yet it inspires discipline. In modern life, projection is built through posture, attire, words, and consistency. If you walk into a room with clarity of movement and control of voice, you project authority before you speak. If you maintain consistent values and visible discipline, people align with you without needing persuasion. The mask of command is not deception. It is the deliberate shaping of perception so that others see the strength you choose to embody. Manipulators use symbols to control. You must use them to defend and direct. Consider a moment of disagreement. A colleague challenges your plan in front of others, expecting you to stumble. If you react defensively, you reveal insecurity. If you sit calm, acknowledge briefly, and return to your main direction, the room sees control. You do not crush with words. You hold steady and let the mask of composure do the work. In that stillness, authority shifts toward you. The attack loses force because your mask never cracked. The mask of command is not falsehood. It is discipline in appearance, separation between inner strategy and outer performance, and projection of calm strength. You must master it to master others. Wear it deliberately. Protect your throne by controlling perception. Remember this command: I rule through the mask I choose. The throne is lost, not by an external enemy, but by the traitor within. Your greatest vulnerability is not what others do to you, but what you allow inside yourself. Before you master manipulation, you must strike the weakness in your own character. This is the work of the inner assassin, the ruthless part of you that eliminates naivety, exposes flaws, and forges armor from wounds. If you fail to send this assassin against yourself, others will use your softness as their weapon. You cannot afford to leave openings in your fortress. Close them before anyone else finds them. Exposing flaws is the first cut. You must see yourself as enemies would. Imagine someone studying your life for weaknesses. They look for habits, desires, insecurities, and blind spots. Do the work before they do. Write down the places you break under pressure. Do you overshare when you want approval? Do you avoid conflict because you fear rejection? These are the cracks in your walls. Every manipulator searches for them. By exposing them yourself, you drag them into light and remove their power. Treat self-assessment not as shame, but as reconnaissance. To command yourself, you must know the landscape of your vulnerabilities better than any outsider. Killing the child within is the next strike. Naivety is the assassin that waits to kill you. Many carry an inner child that still expects fairness, honesty, and unconditional acceptance from the world. That child is tender, but it cannot rule. Left unchecked, it opens the gates for betrayal. Maturity demands that you separate innocence from leadership. You can keep compassion, but you must bury the naivety that assumes people will always act with goodwill. If you do not kill that weakness, it will kill your influence. Weak. I trust everyone until they prove me wrong. Strong. I trust carefully and test consistently. Weak. I'm sure they meant well. Strong. I will confirm intentions before granting trust. This is not cynicism, it is armor. Armor forged in wounds is the final law of the inner assassin. Every betrayal, every failure, every humiliation is raw iron. Many people let these wounds remain open, repeating the same pain in cycle. But you must use them differently. Instead of hiding scars, study them. Ask what each wound teaches you about your threshold, your patterns, your misjudgments. Then forge them into steel. Betrayed once through misplaced loyalty. Do not swear off trust. Build sharper boundaries and stronger filters. Mocked once for silence. Do not hide. Train your voice until it carries unshakable weight. Each scar can become either a weakness to exploit or armor to protect. Choose armor. Command it into form. Picture a simple moment. You are dismissed in a meeting, your idea ignored. The weak response is sulking, feeding resentment. The strong response is calm observation, sharpening your next move, and returning later with evidence that forces recognition. By choosing discipline over reaction, you turned an attempted cut into a forged plate of armor. That is the assassin at work inside you, killing the urge to collapse and strengthening your rule instead. The inner assassin is not cruel to himself. It is loyalty to your throne. Expose your flaws before others do. Kill the naivety that opens doors to betrayal. Forge armor from wounds, so every strike makes you stronger. Carry this command within you. I strike weakness before it strikes me. Power is a living creature. It does not remain still. It hungers daily, and if you do not feed it, it turns against you. Think of power as a wolf at your side. Treat it with discipline, and it becomes loyal, fierce, and protective. Neglect it, and it grows restless, wild, and dangerous. Many lose authority not because they were defeated by others, but because they failed to nourish their own strength. Manipulation is not a single act. It is a constant feeding of discipline, clarity, and control. You must learn what keeps your wolf strong, and you must feed it every day. The loyal wolf is built through control of your hunger. The rabid dog is born when you indulge them without restraint. In modern life, these hungers appear as cravings for approval, status, comfort, or recognition. If you let them drive you, they consume you and leave you weak. But if you discipline them, you turn the same hunger into tools. Desire for respect can fuel mastery of your craft. Desire for security can push you to build resilience. The difference is direction. The wolf that obeys you protects the throne. The dog that rules you destroys it. Weak. I can't help myself. Strong. I direct myself. Weak. I need this to feel worthy. Strong. I choose this to stay sharp. Control hunger, or it will control you. Daily discipline is the meat your wolf requires. Power starves when you coast. It withers when you treat victories as permanent. Each day demands practice. Reading one page that sharpens your mind. Training your body with focus. Setting boundaries that protect your time. These are small pieces of meat you throw to the wolf to keep it strong. Without them, weakness creeps in silently. Just as an army drills every day to stay battle-ready, you must feed your authority through repetition. This is not about perfection, it is about constancy. The wolf eats daily, not once in a while. You cannot expect strength if you neglect the diet of discipline. Predator's balance is the final law. Feed ambition but restrain excess. A wolf that eats too much becomes slow, bloated, and useless in a hunt. A wolf starving becomes desperate and dangerous to its own master. Balance is the ruler's art. Pursue growth but avoid addiction to it. Accept rewards but do not drown in comfort. Stretch yourself but stop before obsession consumes clarity. The predator survives because it knows when to hunt, when to eat, and when to rest. If you feed ambition without control, you end up consumed by the very hunger you thought made you strong. If you starve it, you become prey. Balance keeps you sharp, lean, and prepared. Picture a moment of challenge. A colleague tries to provoke you into over-explaining, hoping you will expose uncertainty. The weak response is indulging the hunger to prove yourself, spilling words until your position weakens. The strong response is discipline. 2 sentences, calm and precise, then silence. You fed the wolf enough to show presence, but did not overfeed until it lost strength. That balance is what keeps authority intact. Power is never owned. It is fed or lost. Treat it like the wolf it is. Control your hunger, feed it daily with discipline, and keep it balanced so it remains fierce but loyal. Remember this command: I feed my power or I starve. Life is a chessboard. Every choice you make moves a piece, and every piece moved changes the entire field. Those who treat life as checkers, leaping without calculation, fall quickly. Those who treat it as chess learn that power is never about one move. It is about seeing 3 moves ahead, weighing sacrifice, and guarding the throne until victory is inevitable. To master manipulation, you must play this game with patience, precision, and vision. You are not here to win every exchange. You are here to win the war. The first principle is understanding pawns as people. Pawns are essential, but they are not the crown. In life, many relationships and opportunities act as pawns, valuable for their position but not sacred. Sometimes you must sacrifice them to protect your king. That does not mean discarding people recklessly. It means recognizing that not every alliance is permanent. If a relationship consistently drains your energy or weakens your position, holding onto it out of guilt is like refusing to sacrifice a pawn when the board demands it. Sacrifice is not cruelty. It is a strategy. You cannot cling to every piece and still expect to win. Commanders throughout history understood this. Survival of the throne requires letting go of what no longer serves the larger plan. The second principle is calculating exchanges. Every loss can be turned into positional power if you treat it correctly. In chess, trading a knight for control of the center may look like defeat, but in the long game it secures victory. In your life, setbacks can be repositioned the same way. A lost job can be exchanged for freedom to pursue a stronger path. A failed project can expose weaknesses that, once corrected, make your next plan unshakable. Manipulation is not about avoiding loss. It is about turning every apparent defeat into an exchange that builds leverage. Weak: I lost everything. Strong: I traded for position. Weak: this ruined me. Strong: this shifted the board in my favor. The difference is not what happened, but how you frame it and what you do with it. The third principle is adopting the endgame mindset. Manipulation is not about winning small skirmishes. It is about victory when the board clears and only the essentials remain. Many waste energy trying to dominate every piece, every argument, every interaction, This drains focus and exposes the king. The true strategist thinks in terms of checkmate, not applause. You may let others appear to win small moments because you are positioning for the final move. This mindset frees you from vanity. You no longer need to react to every provocation or prove yourself in every exchange. You are watching the throne, not the pawns. That clarity is terrifying to opponents because they cannot move you off course with distractions. Imagine a disagreement in a group setting. Someone challenges you loudly, trying to embarrass you. If you treat it as the whole game, you waste energy fighting for the pawn of public approval. But if you see the board, you can step back, let them expend energy, and respond later with a decisive fact that silences the room. You did not fight for noise, you fought for position, and position crowns the king. Life rewards those who think like chess players, not gamblers. Sacrifice what must be sacrificed, turn every loss into power, and keep your eye on the throne of victory rather than the noise of the board. Hold this command: I move for checkmate, not applause. Willpower is the furnace where steel is forged. Without it, brilliance collapses into fragility. Discipline is not simply a tool, it is the engine that drives every form of power. Manipulation, influence, and command all depend on the iron of your will. And like steel, that iron is not found. It is forged, shaped through repetition, hardened by pressure, and sanctified through ritual. If you treat discipline as optional, your throne will always stand on sand. If you treat it as sacred, no storm will move you. The furnace of repetition is where consistency is born. A blade heated once remains brittle. A blade reheated and hammered daily grows unbreakable. Your rituals are the hammer strikes. Waking early, writing down your plan, exercising the body, guarding silence, these acts are small in isolation, yet repeated, they fuse into armor. Modern psychology confirms that habits compound over time. A simple ritual like starting each day with 10 minutes of focused breathing can reset your mind, reduce stress, and anchor you against manipulation. It is not the grand gesture that builds steel. It is the furnace of small, relentless repetitions. Command yourself to show up every day, even when the fire feels cold. Breaking weak metal is your second law. Weak steel bends under stress, revealing where it was flawed. Humans bend in the same way. You must identify the places where you crack and harden them. Do you yield under pressure? Train yourself to pause before speaking. Do you collapse when plans fail? Create backup strategies before they are needed. Every weakness can be reforged. In fact, some of history's most resilient figures became strong precisely because they examined their fractures instead of hiding them. Weak: I always lose focus. Strong: I focus one repetition at a time. Weak: I'm not disciplined. Strong: I forge discipline daily. Treat each weakness as soft metal waiting to be tempered. Strike it until it no longer bends. Ritual as religion is your final principle. To become indestructible, you must treat discipline as sacred, not negotiable. A soldier does not ask if training is convenient. A king does not ask if the throne is optional. In the same way, your rituals must become unquestioned. They are not hobbies, they are commandments. This is why many high performers protect morning or evening rituals with absolute seriousness. It is not about the action itself, it is about what the action represents. When you hold ritual as sacred, you are telling yourself daily that the throne matters, that your will is iron, that no distraction can dethrone you. Treat discipline with reverence, and it will carry you through storms that break others. Picture a conflict at work. Someone challenges your ability to meet a deadline. If your will is weak, you react defensively. If your will is forged, you respond calmly. the deadline will be met. You do not over-explain. You do not panic. You rely on the ritual discipline you have built to keep your word and maintain composure. That is the difference between brittle metal and forged steel. Others see the strength not because you claimed it, but because you embody it. The iron will is not a gift. It is the result of daily rituals, relentless tempering of weakness, and sacred treatment of discipline. Forge yourself in the furnace of repetition, strengthen your fractures, and treat your rituals as holy ground. Remember this command: my will is iron, my throne unshakable. To be untouchable is to win before battle. The one who cannot be provoked, cannot be baited, and cannot be rattled stands higher than any dagger pointed upward. Immunity is the peak form of manipulation because it makes others realize resistance is pointless. The enemy spends energy throwing stones at a fortress they will never breach. Your task is to build such a fortress mind, to raise your throne above storms, and to move like a ghost king whose presence is felt but never struck. The fortress mind is your first defense. No insult, no scheme, no attempt to embarrass you should find purchase. A fortress is built by thick walls and guarded gates, not by thin barriers easily broken. You must train yourself to filter attacks with discipline. When someone hurls insults, pause before reacting. When someone spreads a rumor, refuse to rush to defend. Manipulators thrive on emotional openings. By refusing to grant them entry, you make every attack wasteful. Weak. How dare you say that? Strong. Noted. Weak. That's unfair. Strong. Your view is yours. Words lose power against walls that do not echo them back. Build a mental stone so strong that no provocation cracks your rule. The throne above storms is your second law. Position yourself where petty attacks cannot reach. This is both practical and symbolic. Practically, it means removing yourself from situations where gossip, trivial disputes, or constant distractions eat at your authority. Symbolically, it means elevating your perspective. Do not descend into every argument. Do not answer every critic. The storm below is loud, but the throne above remains steady. History shows that leaders who survive are those who choose their battles with precision. They endure insults because they guard the throne, not their pride. Place yourself high enough that no storm decides your direction. To be above storms is to make them irrelevant. The Ghost King is the final principle. The strongest manipulation is unseen. When people cannot locate the source of power, they cannot attack it. This means moving strategically, influencing without needing constant recognition, and existing beyond retaliation. In modern life, this may mean protecting your privacy, controlling information about yourself, or shaping decisions indirectly through timing and presence. Influence without exposure. Be felt but not easily grasped. The Ghost King leaves no clear target, and this makes him invulnerable. People obey what they cannot strike. The less you reveal, the harder you are to wound. Picture a moment of challenge. A rival in the workplace tries to provoke you publicly, hoping you will defend yourself emotionally. You sit calm, unshaken, and reply with a single clear statement that ends discussion. No anger. No wasted effort. In that silence, the crowd sees the rival swing at stone walls. Their dagger breaks against your fortress. You became untouchable not by fighting, but by standing where they could not reach. Becoming untouchable is the highest form of command. Build the fortress mind so no scheme enters. Elevate the throne above storms so no noise matters. Become the Ghost King so no dagger finds its mark. Remember this command: I cannot be touched. Power is never held by chance. It is taken, guarded, and sustained through mastery of the invisible game. Each law you have learned, ruling the mind, conquering the morning, weaponizing silence, cutting without mercy, wearing the mask, striking your own weakness, feeding the wolf, thinking like a chess player, forging iron will, and becoming untouchable, has prepared you for convergence. Now, they merge. The throne is not built from fragments, but from the totality of discipline. To transform from pawn to king, from prey to predator, from victim to master manipulator, you must fuse these laws into one indestructible form. This is the final ascent, where every move becomes deliberate and every perception bends toward your design. The complete general is the first embodiment of this convergence. A general does not win battles by impulse. He governs by strategy, overseeing terrain, timing, and morale. In your life, this means every decision must be placed within a broader plan. You do not rush to respond to provocation. You step back and assess the entire board. When facing conflict, the weak rush forward, bleeding energy on minor clashes. The complete general conserves strength, striking only where it advances the long game. History proves that those who endure are not always the strongest, but the most strategic. Wars have been lost by kings who fought every insult, and won by those who chose battles carefully. You must embody this restraint, govern your actions as a strategist, not a gambler. Think in campaigns, not skirmishes. The predator's patience is the second form of mastery. Predators do not exhaust themselves chasing every movement. They watch, they circle, they wait. When the prey weakens, they strike with precision. Human interaction follows the same law. Manipulation is not about constant pressure. It is about timing. You may hold silence for days, waiting until the perfect moment to reveal a fact, shift a narrative, or make a demand. You do not waste force on half chances. You let the enemy reveal their exhaustion, their mistakes, their blind spots. Patience terrifies opponents because it signals control. The one who can wait is the one who can win. Modern life rewards constant reaction, but true power belongs to those who resist urgency. Strike only when victory is certain, and you conserve both strength and authority. The throne eternal is the final embodiment. Once you have ruled your mind, disciplined your body, mastered silence, and guarded your fortress, you no longer chase power, you become it. Self-mastery makes you the architect of perception. People obey what they cannot shake, and a person who radiates composure, consistency, and clarity appears inevitable. This is why symbols of authority matter. They remind others of stability. In modern contexts, it may be your professional presence, your reputation for reliability, or your ability to remain calm under fire. When others know that nothing bends you, their resistance fades. You are not merely a player of the invisible game, you are its designer. The throne eternal is not about being admired or feared. It is about being beyond overthrow, because your foundation rests on mastery of self. Imagine a confrontation at work. A rival undermines you in a meeting, hoping to spark a reaction. The pawn rushes to defend, over-explaining. The predator waits. The general studies, and you on the throne respond with a single sentence delivered with calm authority, then withdraw. The silence after your words grows heavier than argument. Others sense where the balance lies. You did not fight for approval. You won by positioning. That is convergence, the blending of patience, strategy, and composure into a single, unshakable stance. Every law up to this point has been a weapon, but weapons alone do not make a ruler. The ruler is crowned when those weapons merge into one seamless armor, one fortress, one throne. Mastering the invisible game means you no longer live at the mercy of others' schemes. You choose when to act, when to pause, when to cut, when to wait. You become both predator and king, strategist and ghost. You are no longer moved by noise. You move others with presence. The pawn who follows impulse is expendable. The king who fuses patience, calculation, and iron will is untouchable. That is your transformation. You do not play for applause. You do not play for moments. You play for the throne that endures. Hold this command above all others. I am the master of the invisible game. Every act of discipline is a declaration of war. The laws you have studied mean nothing if they remain theory. They only gain force when carried into daily life. Each morning you rise with choice, remain a pawn moved by circumstance or rule, as a king who commands the board. Self-mastery is not abstract. It is visible in your routines, in your posture, in the boundaries you defend, in the silences you hold. When you practice, you embody the throne. When you neglect, you surrender it. The world bends not to words alone, but to the discipline that proves them. Daily integration is the mark of true sovereignty. Small choices compound into power, choosing focus over distraction, clarity over noise, restraint over impulse. These are not minor acts. They are battles won. You cannot expect mastery from rare bursts of effort. Power hungers daily, and you must feed it. If you skip the ritual, if you let weakness return, you invite invasion. Treat each act of discipline as a soldier guarding your walls. Lose one, and the fortress weakens. Keep them strong, and no enemy breaks through. Your throne is defended not once, but every hour. The commanding mantra is your weapon of remembrance. It fuses every law into one. Say it, hold it, live it. I rule my mind, I wear the mask, I feed the wolf, and my throne is eternal. This is not performance, it is programming. Words spoken with conviction reshape thought, and thought directs action. The weak whisper doubts until they become reality. The strong repeat commands until they embody them. Weak, I'll try to be disciplined. Strong, I am disciplined. Weak, I hope I can handle this. Strong, I am built for this. Language is steel. Speak in commands, not in wishes. Final empowerment rests in the throne of self-mastery. No scheme, insult, or manipulation can overthrow a ruler who governs himself. The world often obeys not the one with the loudest voice, but the one who appears unshakable. If your mind is ruled, if your habits are forged, if your boundaries are defended, then you have already won. Influence follows certainty. Respect follows stability. Authority follows discipline. Others may fight battles for applause. You fight only for the throne that endures. Remember always that your greatest empire is not land or followers, it is yourself. Guard it with vigilance, rule it with clarity, and project it with calm command. Carry this final command into every field. I rule myself, therefore I rule the world.